Um, I've been a psychiatrist for quite a long time. It's about 25 years now. So I'm going to talk more from the heart and also from the experience. Maybe just to share a few things. I'm going to talk about building resilience in this difficult time, and I'm more happy to talk about post-COVID, and I'll tell you why. I'm now recovering. I'm still on sick leave. I've had my fair share of COVID, so I'll be talking from experience as well from that angle. I'm a COVID recoverer. You know, when they say on the TV, how many people are positive and blah, blah, I'm in that statistic of recovering. So maybe just to talk about my story first before I go into the mental health issues. I've had a fair share of COVID. I was positive from the first. I tested positive on the first and isolated, did everything that everyone else does. And, you know, look, I didn't think of COVID that much because I had an episode. In fact, in the first wave, I had COVID. So me, it was lightning striking twice at the same place. So I had the first episode of COVID in September. It was just a mild flu. Now this second one was quite serious. I think the second wave took us by surprise. So I'm just mentioning this so that you know I'm also talking from experience. And I can tell you that COVID, as much as you look at it, if you haven't had it, you don't know what it is. If you have had it and you're on this platform, you know what I'm talking about, especially the second wave. So I went through the isolation, and I can tell you mentally that took its toll on me. Remember, when you are isolating, you are alone, and everyone else just comes at your door, drops you food. You can't even see these people, so you just have a chat with your kids. And I think for me, my journey started with COVID, being alone and having to think about all sorts of things. And remember, I'm a medical person. I kept on measuring my saturation every 2 hours, and if it drops, I would be anxious, I would be worried. So in a nutshell, that's my experience with COVID. But um, after day 10, 11, I felt strong, and I felt, look, I'm a fighter. I've fought other battles. I'm out of COVID. So I started being active. I started doing my usual walks. Guess what? Then I collapsed and my lungs started failing me. So I ended up in hospital for 7 days with COVID pneumonia. And the rest is history. Now I'm recovering. I'm on lots of medication. And this is my story about COVID. So now coming to today's topic, which is how do you take care of our mental health? And I'm more focusing on COVID because I've just told you about my story. Maybe just to describe this way that I'm worried about is resilience. So the heading was building resilience in this difficult time. And I'm going to sort of focus on COVID, post-COVID, or inter-COVID, or whatever you want to call it. But COVID for me has been the pandemic that we're still in it, or we're still going on with it, is not yet over. Resilience for me, I tried to look for it and I got the definition from the dictionary. The English dictionary says it's the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. That's the short description of resilience. But I'm going to focus on our side, the mental health side. So we say resilience is a process of adapting well in the face of adversity. And this could be anything, could be trauma, could be any loss. In this case, it's health problem, it's the illness. It could be, as we had the previous speaker, financial stress, it could be relationship problems. So when you can adapt well in the face of things, that for me would be you are resilient. And I'm going to try my best in the 20 minutes that I'm given to describe how I understand resilience. And in particular, referring to me, it's easier to talk about yourself. So I usually tell people that, resilience is not something that you build overnight. resilience is something that is within you. And resilience, some people, they always say being resilient doesn't mean that it means that a person will not experience difficulties or even go through difficulties. I don't think that's true. You can be, you can go through something difficult, get over it, bounce back, and get another challenge. But resilience is an ongoing thing. It's a process. That's how I would describe resilience. And some people would say, no, resilience is a personality trait. So only some people possess it. I beg to differ. I think resilience is an ordinary thing that all of us can develop, can process, and it's not extraordinary. It's how you get out of a situation that matters. And I will also go further to say it also involves our thoughts, our actions, and it also involves our emotional state. So, in other words, uh, the road to resilience involves considerable emotional distress and sometimes physical distress. In this case, it was physical distress because COVID causes physical uh, symptoms. You know, those that have had COVID will know how painful it is. It's very painful. I don't want to dwell on to that, which is it's a story for another day. But I can tell you, physically you are in pain, emotionally you are in pain, and it cuts across all systems. And as I'm speaking to you, I'm sitting here with what they call post-COVID complications. And those are things that are worse because no one talks about post-COVID complications. People are just worried about your lungs collapsing, you getting into lung failure or heart failure. But I can tell you post-COVID complications are real. You could have a cardiac problem. You could have, I'm having post-COVID arthritis, which is very difficult to deal with, but I'm bouncing back. I'm actually halfway there getting back to work. So I'm aware of time. So I'm going to just give you a few pointers. So to build resilience, I think I'm going to talk about myself. What are my strategies, especially mentally or otherwise? So to build resilience, it takes a lot of things. I'll tell you the things that I think are relevant, and this is what I'm practicing. What I have done in my life, I've made sure I make good connections. I make sure I have healthy, supportive connections. What does that mean? It means I'm actually, I've invested in my family, my friends. I've made sure I put so much in them so that when I need them, like in the case of when I was sick with COVID, I got so much support. So number one, make sure you have connections. You have healthy, supportive connections, friends, family, or otherwise. And what does that mean? As a human being, please make sure you prioritize relationships. You know, in this world, we are now on the red race. People, we are chasing this and that and that. But can we pause for a while and just start building on relationships? How do you build relationships? Spend time with people that are close to your heart. You know, you know, empower them, give them all that you have when you are well. Because it's the seeds that you plant in those people that you're going to harvest when you need them. So prioritize the relationship, right? And how do that? Do that. Okay, make sure that you love them, have empathy, uh, make sure that you have time with them. And it's in the midst of difficulties that you will get the seed that you have plowed. The second strategy that I have used, these are my strategies. Um, they're not in a particular order, but this is how I have built my resilience. Make sure that you take care of your physical health. Physical wellness, it's not, you cannot buy it. You can have all the money. You can be, how healthy, but physical health is something that you need to invest in. And what does it mean? It means we need to take care of our body, do a lot of self-care, both physically and emotionally. These are simple things that we get to hear all the time. But I'm a very simplistic person. And sorry if I'm too simple for other people. But this is, I find it easy to talk about these simple things that are doable. Take care of your nutrition. Make sure that you eat balanced meals, right? Balanced meal means 3 meals a day. If you can have snacks in between and proper healthy meals. People are on, women, how particular they are about weight. They're on this diet today, tomorrow. But in that amidst all that, make sure that you eat healthy. Because if you don't eat healthy, your immune system, and remember, COVID attacks your immune system. So if you haven't been eating healthy, it means your immune system might not be the strongest. So proper nutrition. I can't stress the next one. Sleep. Make sure that you sleep enough. 6 to 8 hours. I try to sleep at least 7 hours. Not sleeping, it's something that is not negotiable. If you don't sleep enough, you're affecting a whole range of things. You're affecting your energy levels, you're affecting your concentration, you're affecting, in fact, you're affecting your day. So we need that sleep. Make sure that you drink water. This is a recitation that you get. Make sure that you hydrate your body. Make sure that you take at least 8 glasses of water or 2 liters or more. The last one, when you're taking care of your physical health, exercise. Well, it depends. Exercise doesn't mean joining the gym, paying the exorbitant amount of money. You can just take a walk every day, 2 to 3 kilometers, or however, whichever way you want to exercise. Make sure that you do a bit of it. And I'll tell you, these things will help to reduce the toll of anxiety and depression. Once you do this simple things, taking care of your wellness, the next thing that I do is I'm practicing mindfulness. We have different beliefs, ladies. Other people believe in that. There's yoga, there's journaling, there's meditation, there's spiritual practices. For me, it doesn't really matter as long as you've got that at least that 10 to 15 minutes where you are just mindful of yourself, your surroundings, your situation. I do a lot of meditation every morning. 15 minutes meditation is a must, irrespective of where I am. And the next thing about this wellness, make sure that you ruminate. That means you think a lot about positive aspects of your life. If you want to remain positive, always focus on your positive aspects of your life. And the next thing that I do a lot is to avoid negative outlets or negative people. Please, this is important. You know how people are. Some people are negative energy. They drain you. Try to avoid those people and try to avoid things that will make you think of negative things. And the next thing is other people try to mask, they mask their pain by doing substances. They end up doing alcohol, drugs, and this is like you. Is it better now? Is my audio better now?
Yes, we can hear you, Doc.
Okay. Okay, sorry. So when you use substances, it's like you putting bandage on a deep wound. So try to avoid masking. And the third thing that I do is I try. I'm still trying. I'm also on the journey. I'm not yet there. I'm trying to find my purpose. I'm trying to. I really am still trying. I'm on a journey. I'm still trying my purpose, and I'm doing a lot of things. I'm trying to help others, whichever way I can. I do a lot of charity work. I try. This will foster self-worth. This will make you connect with other people. In fact, it will help you because when you empower others, this helps you to grow your resilience. So do charity. It might mean volunteering at an old age home. It might mean whatever. And it's also good. Be proactive. It helps to acknowledge and accept that you have emotions, that you deal with emotions, and that you also an emotional being. I had to come to a point where I realized I'm anxious now. I'm really anxious because I couldn't sleep. There's a stage in my COVID journey that I was lying in bed, not sleeping, worrying about whether I'm going to die from COVID, and should I die, what's going to happen to my kids? And I had all sorts of things. So I had to acknowledge that, look, I'm a human being. I do go through emotions, and I was anxious, and that helped me. And the next purpose that I also have, which as I said, I'm on a journey, is I've tried to set realistic goals, small but doable, and like I started taking 10 minutes walk, and also I did the meditation for 10 to 15 minutes, and I realized, wow, this is doable. Small little goals are good for me. And the next thing that I've also done is, I'm still looking for opportunities for self-discovery. Like being on this platform, I've been listening, and I'm going to listen to other people. But just to give you a few pointers, do a lot of self-introspection, reflection. Look at your relationship. How can you better your relationship? And start appreciating small things like breathing. While I was in hospital, I started appreciating when I'm having the oxygen mask. I started appreciating how nice it's just to breathe oxygen from outside, not to even pay for the oxygen. So it's this small little thing that you need to do. Appreciate them. And lastly, please, this is quite important. You need to talk positivity into yourself. Embrace healthy thoughts. Keep things in good perspective. Be realistic. Thoughts are important. I know they influence our actions. In fact, thoughts do influence resilience, building resilience. And what I can also say is I had to stop exaggerating the extent of the illness by starting to do a lot of positive talk. That, look, COVID, you're not going to disable me. I'm fighting you. I'm getting out of it. And this is how resilience is built. Doing all these small little things that I'm mentioning. I'm trying to be simplistic, and I hope this will um, help people in this platform. And the last thing that I had to really, really deal with is to accept change. That change is part of life. And I had to accept the circumstances that I was in. That me, from that hardworking person, now here I am. It's now 3 months down the line. I've been taken care of. I've been I've been really, really, focusing on my health, and really at the mercy of other people. And I took that as change. And I thought, look, these are the circumstances that I cannot change. What can I do about this? I needed to adapt. And remember my definition of resilience. So I had to adapt. I've adapted. I've now adapted, and I've really accepted. So these are the things that form part of building resilience. And I've mentioned that resilience is built. So being resilient, you need to build, you need to work on it day on day. And and I can say also, what I've also done is I've maintained a hopeful outlook. I've stayed positive. I've had this COVID almost disabling me, but I can tell you today that I'm bouncing back. I'm ready to go back to work on the 1st of March, and obviously I'll continue taking the medication that I'm on, but I am positive, and I think my story is going to help me in my line of duty to tell people, look, you can beat COVID. I know we've got statistics of people that died from COVID. I'm a statistic of a person that recovered from COVID. And one thing that I can also add is I've avoided worrying about this fear, because COVID instilled so much fear in me. It made me see the worst case scenario. And I can tell you, here I am. I'm able to share my story with you, and I'm giving you a few tips of um, how to build, or what to do to make sure that your mental health and your resilience is on point. And lastly, because if I go on, I won't stop. Maybe the last thing that I wanted to share with you is that I also learned that, I must seek help. And this is quite a crucial building block of resilience, of building resilience. Being able to seek help. You cannot be everything. You can have resources. You can have all the money. You can, but when it comes to getting help, please ask for help. We've got mental health care workers that can help you, psychologists, psychiatrists can help you. And especially when it comes to mental health, we know the stigma attached to this. We know how people are shy to talk about their issues, especially depression. The list is endless. So yes, lastly, um, I've got a slide that I just wanted to share with you, and this was quite interesting for me. If you look at it, it says what you choose to focus on, right? So remember, I said make sure that you invest in relationships. So if you focus on love, you water it, you can see it growing bigger. If you focus on worry, it will also grow bigger, and it means you will be full of anxiety. If you focus on self doubt, if you focus on guilt, self guilt, look at all those. I would suggest that we just focus on growing and watering love, and that will grow. I will end there. Thank you very much, ladies, for having me on this platform.